we have to talk about the El Clásico, something that you really, really know very much. What's your impression for this Clásico that it seems it goes 100% or maybe 60% to Real Madrid?
Yeah, I think at the moment Real Madrid are favourites. Their team are probably in better form than Barcelona. As we know, Manuel, Barcelona have a huge amount of problems financially. Their team is not the team it once was. Of course, no Lionel Messi, which is a huge problem for the Barcelona fans. They've had to sell a couple more players. The team's not as strong as it once was. And we know that they've got significant problems going forwards into the future. So Madrid, I think, are favourites. Madrid, again, they're going through a transitional period where they've lost Sergio Ramos, they've lost Rafa Varane, and they're not the strongest defensively. But I certainly think they're the better team going into Sunday's game, and Sunday's game should be an absolute fantastic game. Anybody who's been to the Clásico, anybody who's been to Camp Nou knows, when it's full, 100,000 spectators. The rivalry between Real Madrid and Barcelona, and more importantly, the hatred that they have for each other. The atmosphere will be red hot come Sunday afternoon European time, of course.
Especially talking about the crisis of Barcelona, how heavy is the Camp Nou and how important is for Barcelona to win this Clásico?
Oh, I mean, how heavy do you want it to be, Manuel? It is impossible at the moment. I watched them at the first game of the season, and on minute 10, they started calling for Lionel Messi and whistling. I watched them the other day against Dynamo Kiev in the Champions League, which they won 1-0. But it was a very laboured performance. They weren't quick, they weren't sharp, they didn't score a lot of goals. And the fans were whistling at times, even though they won easily. And it is imperative, it is incredibly important that they don't lose, certainly don't lose, but if they can win the game, it would be brilliant. If they lose, it just adds more and more pressure onto the heads of Juan Laporta, the president, Ronald Koeman, the manager, and of course, some of the big name players, Gerard Piqué, Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba. They're the ones who have been around during the good times and now the difficult times. So there's a huge amount of pressure on this Barcelona team.
Steve, I'm the ones that I give a lot of support to Ronald Koeman, and I understand the fans that they are blaming the coach. What do you think? Is he responsible for the lack of soccer or result that Barcelona is having?
Oh, no. I mean, it's difficult because when the team does well and when the team wins trophies, the players get all the credit.
Right.
And when the team does badly and the team lose, the manager gets the criticism.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is in football. No, it's certainly not Ronald Koeman's problems, the fact that he's only been in the job a couple of years. And of course, the presidential elections happened and the financial black hole that has suddenly been found in the accounting books. To be $1 billion, €1 billion in debt is incredible for a team like Barcelona. They could have gone out of business, which is unthinkable. Yes, once the league starts up again and you're allowed fans in, and of course, post-pandemic, you can start getting sponsorship money. And yes, they'll get all this money back, and it'll take them a number of years to get it back because their sponsorship and merchandise deals are so good. But at this moment, it's they're trying to save every single penny they can. And it's certainly not Ronald Koeman's fault. It's the board of directors prior to this. It's the president prior to this president coming in. And I still think the accounting teams are trying to get to the bottom of where all the money has gone.
Yeah, you're right. And let's talk about Kylian Mbappe. We have months, maybe years, hearing that Kylian is going to Real Madrid, but I'm impressed that in the last days, it sounds in Barcelona too. What would you do? What would you do, Steve, if you were Kylian Mbappe and you are at this point that you can choose Real Madrid or Barcelona?
It's easy. Barcelona can't afford him. It's simple as that. Right? They just cannot afford him. Even if he goes on a free contract, his wages are going to be extreme. And personally, for me, if you've got the choice between Real Madrid with their brand new stadium, which is going to be incredibly when it opens in 18 months' time, they have got a pot of money now that they can start investing in players because they haven't really bought any players for the last 2 or 3 years and they've sold a lot. So they have got a pot of money that they can start buying players in. If Kylian Mbappe comes in on a free contract, there's also talk about trying to bring in Erling Haaland from Borussia Dortmund, the young superstar there. There's talk about Paul Pogba maybe going on a free contract. If these players end up turning up in the white shirt of Real Madrid and playing in the new futuristic Santiago Bernabeu, Real Madrid are going to be back on top. They're going to be the leaders in everything, and they're going to be the leaders financially across the world. They're going to be the coolest team to play for in the world, the most glamorous. Hollywood will be turning up in Madrid every single week, and that's the place you want to play your football.
Right. Steve, one more about this topic. Can you give me your result for this Clásico? And can you say hi to all the Telemundo audience that always remembers you in your great career, especially in the Karate Kid goal? Can you give us that impression, please?
Well, I think Real Madrid will win 3-1. And I would just like to say to all the Telemundo viewers, hello, join in, watch the game, ESPN Plus. It's going to be an absolute classic. And vamos, Madrid!